What is going on, YouTube people? Northeast Ohio Sports Cards here for the Sunday morning show. Wrapping up and covering all three major sports, seeing what the price chart's looking like, touching on anything interesting news-wise and any other hot topics, and then the newly named Sunday Spotlight at the end of the episode. So before we get into it, like, comment, sub, YouTube stuff down below. Market Movers links is down there. That's where all the charts and graphs come from for everyone that asks. And a quick shout out, thanks to those that have signed up for channel memberships. If you want to do that, cool. If not, cool. Links to that are down there too. All sorts of links down there in the description. Well, that being said, let's rock and roll. This week, I don't really have anything specific for the newsy category of the world. So let's just hop into charts and graphs. We're going to start with NBA, and we're not going to talk about any one particular player, really. At least I don't have individual graphs pulled. What I have up is price movements by card, sorted by NBA, sorted by PSA 10. That's what I typically do when I look at these. It helps filter out a lot of the raw sales, and especially right now, most of that's Prism, which I talked about in the video that I dropped. Was that yesterday? Yesterday. So modern NBA is still in its lull, if you will. This is sorted right now by number of sales, which I usually like to do just to kind of see if someone spikes up real quick. You know, a hot player will come to the top of this chart fairly quickly. So to quick glance down, you could see Zion and Ja are at the top along with Luka, all their base Prisms PSA 10s. And Zion keeps just doing his thing. He sits at around 650. He goes up to 700. He goes back down to 650. He goes back up to 700. Ja just seems stuck in the 360s to 375s. And Luka does the same thing that Zion does. He goes down just below 1200, and then he spikes back up to 1300. And then he goes right back down to under 1200 again. So these guys clearly have a price floor at where they're sitting, but they just don't seem to be going up any. Morant makes sense. They've been kind of in the malaise of the late season. They're probably not going to, maybe they make the play-in game. We'll see. A lot of stuff still to be determined in the NBA, but you know, Luka, the Mavs have actually been playing fantastic. They've been on fire. And they look like they could catch the Trailblazers for the 6th seed, which would get them out of the play-in game, which would be big. That play-in game is Danger Town. So as we move down, you know, Trey is right below there doing basically the same thing. Gets slightly above 400, then goes down below 400, and then goes back up above 400. And as we scroll on down the list here, you still see a lot of red with little bits of greens. You know, Rui's up a little bit. He's been playing pretty good lately. Still see a lot of LeBron 15th year junk on here. Garland had a pretty good week. He's up a little bit, so on and so forth. I personally think, and I'm going to do a video on this probably Monday or Tuesday, I think it's time to do your business or get off the pot when it comes to modern NBA. I have some very specific players I'm interested in, and I think now is the time to buy them. We are now officially on the fast track to the NBA playoffs. They are going to be here sooner rather than later, and if you're looking to flip anybody during those first couple rounds of the playoffs, and if you have any faith that the modern NBA market still has life, I think now's the time. I still have that faith, so I've already pulled the trigger on some stuff. There's still a few more things I want to get. I'm going to put a little list together, and it will be a video probably Monday or Tuesday, most likely. It's going to be household names. We're not breaking new ground here. I'm going to exclusively be looking at the teams at the top of the playoff lists and that I think that have a chance to at least win a couple rounds, and hope that, you know, these guys, A, get a little increase on the fast track to the playoffs, and then B, have the potential to do something in the playoffs, maybe win a round or two, and then you could kind of sell on the upswing there. Is it dangerous? Sure. It's a risky game to play because the spike, A, could not happen. B, maybe they get bounced in the first round and you got greedy and didn't sell before the playoffs started. You know, we'll see. Now, the players that I am buying aren't like, it's not going to be the end of the world if I'm quote unquote stuck holding them until next season, because right now all the prices are still relatively down. So I'm in now. I've been saying for weeks, I've been watching the modern NBA market, waiting to pounce, and I am now pouncing. Like I said, I have a very limited focus on the players that I am going after. But that's what I'm doing. I'm sliding football to the side for a little bit. I've been buying a lot of football lately, especially on Star Stock. And I think it's time to switch the Eye of Sauron, if you will, onto some modern NBA plays. So let me know if you guys agree with me. I think this is the window. And like I said, I'll do a video on it early next week, looking at some upper echelon guys. And it's guys that we've talked about a bunch. Like I said, this is not going to be the earth shattering list of, I looked under every rock to find obscure names. But just some of these prices are at the point now where if you believe it all in this market to come back, now's the time to buy. So, and like I said, worst case scenario, they don't spike up as much as I thought that they did. Maybe I just hold them and then just ride the wave through the off season. These are all going to be players I have no issues holding through a summer, other than, maybe tying up some money in it that I could be using towards other stuff. So that's my thoughts on the general NBA market at this time. And like I said, we'll do a deeper dive later in the week. Let's look at some baseball. I pulled a lot of baseball charts since we're, a week and a half into the season now. And we're starting to see a lot of price movements. Some players are falling, kind of like we thought they were. Acuna was on his way down, but has come back up because he started the season hot. Soto's down a little bit. I did not pull his charts. Tatis we'll talk about in a second. One of the big hype prospects from earlier in the spring, though, Bo Bichette, is down quite a bit this week. Dropped almost 25%. Down to $70. This is just his base tops paper. And he's been playing not terribly. I think he had like a 2 home run game the other day. His batting average is a little low, but pretty much everybody's is, it seems like. But I didn't think he was starting that slow. But yeah, his prices are down about 20%. Badou, the hot name to start the season, Mr. Badou, or Bad Dude, as a lot of people have begun to reference him. This is his Bowman Chrome first auto. These things have gone absolutely berserk just in the last 7 days. This is the PSA 10 version. Started the week at 279, ends the week at 615 for a 120% increase. And this guy has been absolutely crushing the baseball. I watched him beat up the Indians pretty good, and pretty much everyone that he's run into, he's just been destroying. This is the same card, but ungraded has also had a massive week. Actually, a better return on the non-graded. This started the week at $55, ends the week at 173 for a 218 or 216% increase on the Bad Dude. This is a perfect example of a player that I would be selling. Big spike like this. This guy kind of came out of nowhere. I don't necessarily think he's like a pedigreed top prospect. If you were into him big time, don't get cute here and wait for him to become the next Juan Soto. Just pull the trigger and offload at least some of it. Like I really think, I guess I'll just say it, you're a fool if you don't at least offload some of your position if you had a position in this guy right now. Like, what else are you holding for? This is a perfect storm. So I would definitely be moving off at least some of this player if you had a stash of him. So I definitely would not be buying. That's for sure. Ohtani, talked about Ohtani, has been just absolutely on fire this week. Had the little injury scare with the slide tackle, but ended up being okay from it. Had the nice Sunday night baseball start. I believe he has to miss his next start due to a blister issue, which is unfortunate to see already, just to keep the hype train going. But then he hit a home run the other day. So, and this was a guy, like I said, I talked about this in the buying and selling video, that I advocated for selling before the season, and I still think that was the right call if you made a bunch of money on it. We talked about that extensively in that video. And if you didn't sell then, I would once again reevaluate that position. Just in the last 7 days, these have gone from 149 and 135. These are his two top crumbs pitching. He has a billion different rookie cards because he's got one pitching, hitting, etc. Chrome update. But it's up from 150 to 300 and 135 to 246 on the Chrome versus the update. Once again, if you missed the window to sell earlier, I would once again look at selling again. And it's not due to talent and hype. He has all that. But man, like the slide tackle thing was freaky. Like that's no one's fault. That's just a fluke thing. But like now he's already missing a start because of a blister. I have so many concerns about this guy's injury history and potential to get injured. And we saw what happened with Tatis. You get hurt and you're going to lose a decent percentage off that. So I would for sure be looking to lock in some profit on some of this and try to move on to the next thing. And like I said, if you have multiple, sell off some, keep some. But he's having a hell of a week. I got to give it to him. So next up, another one. If for some reason you are a leader of the Joe Musgrove fan club and you have his cards, now is your time to strike. He threw the no-hitter on Friday night, I believe that was. This is his Topps Chrome rookie auto and his Bowman Chrome rookie auto. Both saw massive spikes. This was a $7 card. He threw a no-hitter, and now they're $40 to $50. 480% increase, 580% increase. Sell all day long. It's a no-hitter. Yeah, cool. Looks great. Go look at the list of guys that have thrown a no-hitter. And Musgrove's not a bad pitcher at all. But go look at the guys that have thrown a no-hitter and how many of them are completely irrelevant. Just because you threw a no-hitter doesn't mean anything special at all. If you have any of his stuff, I don't know if you would have anything rookie graded, but any of this auto stuff or whatever, I would unload everything that I had. These are those moments that you have to watch this stuff day to day and be on top of this, because I guarantee you his prices are going to come down fast. I wouldn't be surprised if next week on the 7-day, he was one of the biggest losers in the market where this drops right back down again. If you stay on top of this stuff every day, you need to be ready to strike when the iron is hot, when something like this happens. I'm sure there's people that have Musgrove autos that probably don't even know that they have them, for sure. Like I said, he's a pretty good pitcher, but it's not like he's Jacob deGrom or Clayton Kershaw in his prime. So just another one, especially these baseball guys, man. If something like this, like Badou, if that happens in the middle of the season, how many people even know that that's going on? And his prices would spike a little bit probably, but not as much as they did. Everything's elevated right now because it's the beginning of the baseball season and it has all eyes on it. Speaking of Mr. Tatis, oh, what a shame this was. This just sucked. He's a fun player. He's good for the game. And then this happened. And I'm going to be honest with you guys and girls. I have a lot of concern that this is going to be, that we have nowhere near heard the last of this season. There's still speculation floating that after this evaluation period, they're going to come out and say that he has to have surgery and is going to be done for the year. That's not for sure. I'm just reading reports on Twitter from various beat writers and whatnot and medical professionals. But a lot of the talk out there is that he is still going to need the surgery once this evaluation period is done. And that if he does play through it, that this could easily happen again. Then if it happens again, then are they going to go surgery? So I think you have a little window here. If you've locked in a good profit, depending on when you bought and you haven't sold yet, that maybe you could sell before worse news comes out. Or like I said, my bigger concern is that he tries to play through this and then just has terrible numbers all year. And I do think if you're not into Tatis, there'll be a good buying opportunity somewhere along the line, but that's a very long hold. You're buying now and basically have to hold 8 to 9 months at least. You're at least going to want to hold that till January or February next year. My guess is like February. So if you're cool with that, great. But in most people's cases, there's just better things that you could be doing with that money. Now, that's probably a pretty safe investment, depending on what you get into them for. Maybe people are scared off by the injury next winter. We'll see, and we'll see what happens. Maybe this is just all smoke, and he's able to come back and play just fine, and there's no issue, and that they were right with the 10 days rehab or whatever it was, and then he's fine. But I have my concerns as someone that recently bought a Tatis Topps Chrome. As I mentioned before, I got into it for about $240 after some trades. So it's not the end of the world. I could kind of just ride the waves. But if I could get out of it for like 300, 350, I would consider it. I don't know that I would straight sell it at this point. I'm more holding it as a bullet for trades than I am just to straight sell it and then go buy something else. Unless if I was at a show and something caught my eye, I would move it to go buy something else if someone put an offer in on it. But I don't know how many people want to buy Tatis right now. So that's Tatis and my thoughts on that market. We'll see what happens. I really hope he makes a full recovery one way or the other. Hopefully this season, and he's back in, maybe the end of April, and he's back to 100% Tatis doing crazy things on the baseball field. The game is just not as fun with him sidelined. So we're going to hop over to football real quick. Just one thing to talk about. The football market's in its mode where things continue to slowly creep up. There's no one really making huge spikes other than Sam Darnold. I ran this chart back a little bit further just to get a full glimpse here. He obviously got traded. His card spiked up quite nicely. Back on the 30th, his PSA 10 Prism was going for 140. And then it spiked all the way up to 250 and is on its way back down again. And this is a perfect example of how you can see how quick this stuff spikes up, peaks, and then immediately falls back down again. Now, do I think this is going back to 140? No. It's probably going to level out in the high 100s, 175, maybe 200, and then kind of putter along from there for a while, if I had to guess. We'll see what ends up happening. But once again, this is all about being super on top of this. The trade happened, and you essentially had about a 2 or 3 day window to sell at relative peak prices for now. It's going to go back down, level off, and I think it will level off at a higher floor than before. So either way, you're in a good position. But if you were in the Sam Darnold big, you had to be throwing a Christmas party because this is your chance to get out of him and then move that money into something else potentially. And, maybe Darnold's great with the Panthers. I have no idea. But depending on what I was into him for, I would have definitely been selling off at least some of this stuff during this most recent spike. But as you can see, that window closes very, very quickly. So that's the last one we would look at today. Some closing stuff here today, and then we'll move on to the Sunday Spotlight. For those of you that do not know what the Sunday Spotlight is, that is where I feature another content creator's channel to help give them some love and respect that they deserve. So far, it's been people that have less subscribers than me. The first one we did was Step Back Sports Cards. He was a relatively newish channel. He's been around for a while, but hasn't put out a ton of content. And then She Collects Cards, who is much, much more well known, but she definitely deserves way more subscribers than what she has. So we gave her a little bump, and then we have another one this week. And like I said, I'm going to keep doing this for a while. I know it probably seems crazy to point you in the direction of another channel that could potentially, quote unquote, take views away from me or whatever, but that's not really why I'm in this. So I never thought that I would get to where I was. So if I can help give another channel a boost, and I could wield what little power that I have to do that, and it's not much, but when you're a YouTube content creator, a little boost like that does a lot for you. Until you've sat on this side of the microphone, you don't really know what that means to get that little pick me up. Maybe you're been kind of in a lull, and you get a little boost of subscribers, gives you a jolt of energy, or someone else mentions you in a video. It just gives you a little breath of fresh air sometimes. So if I could do that for someone else, it was done for me multiple occasions when I was coming up. I would like to pay that forward. So you will continue to see these at the close of the Sunday morning videos. Before we get into that, just a quick outline for content for this week. I'm going to do a modern NBA video. I'm not sure if that's going to be Monday or Tuesday, but it'll be early this week where I touch on some playoff targets. I've done this a couple times already, but like I said, I believe now's the time, if you believe. So that'll be out. I went to the Hartville, Ohio card show yesterday and recorded video there for the first time with the new setup. So you will see that at some point in time this week, probably middle of the week. I would also like to do a comic book video this week, and I would like to do a Marvel trading card video this week, and whatever else pops up video this week. Sometimes I just get random ideas in my head while driving around. So Sunday Spotlight this week. Let's get into that, and then we will close out. Was going to do a comic book one, but I decided to go back to sports cards because he is very close to a milestone. This is Sports Cards Anonymous. He is on the Sports Card Investor Discord. I've spoken to him multiple times on there. He puts out really good content. He's a card ladder guy, but I'll let him slide on that. He uses card ladder charts, so boo that. But he had a very good video with Comeback Card Investor, a stream on Friday night that I watched this morning. That was just really good. They had really good back and forth. And the big thing here is, as of the recording on Saturday night, he is at 925 subscribers. So my challenge to you is let's get him to 1,000, because 1,000's a big one. 1,000, you get monetized if he chooses to monetize. I don't know that he's going to, but let's give him a little Neo bump and see if we can't get him to 1,000 subscribers. I know that he's been doing some giveaways and stuff. You can look through his videos if you're interested in stuff like that, but he puts out pretty good content. Seems like a pretty informative guy, and seems pretty friendly in the times that I've spoken to him online. So that's your Sunday Spotlight. Shout out to whoever named Sunday Spotlight. One of my YouTube commenters threw that out there as a name for this. I liked it, so I'm running with it, but I cannot remember who named it. So whoever you are, you know who you are, and you did good work on this one. So that's the Sunday Spotlight this week. Sports Cards Anonymous. Link will be in the description down below where you could find his channel. She Collects Cards just did a really good video back and forth with Sam from Women of the Hobby. I would highly recommend checking that out as well. I could pretty much guarantee that at some point in time, Sam from Women of the Hobby will be on Sunday Spotlight as well. But they did a very good collab video the other day that I watched on Saturday morning. So, but that's all I got for you guys. Have a great week. We will catch you guys and girls tomorrow. Peace.